All right. Well, welcome back to Multifamily Deals and Dollars. And I'm Jim Lawrence, and I have with me Kiran Kaur, who's out in VC, and we are real estate investors. And we've had some really great episodes here, Kiran. So let's continue, shall we?
Yes, yes, yeah. Hello to audience, and thank you, Jim, for the opportunity to share the insights about multifamily properties in Canada. And yes, so really excited to talk to our audience.
I love it. And today we were going to talk about what can make you, what can make or break your cash flow. So that's what we want to talk about. And of course, the first thing we look at when we're analyzing properties is the purchase price.
Yes, I agree. So you marry the purchase price, whatever you buy. So that is the one thing that stays the same. And lower the purchase price, your higher will be the profit. So looking at the deal, so not only think about um, getting into higher offers or backup offers and offering more than the listing price, because it's not emotions and it is not about just getting the deal. It's not like we as real estate investors, we are not buying for the sake of buying. We are buying properties for profit. And think about all those strategies, think about all the money and all everything needs to be lined up. What can we do to the property rather just getting, acquiring the property? Acquisition is very easy. It is the operations, it is the all other things which we're going to talk about in a few minutes that can um, either increase your cash flow, or there won't be any cash flow, it will be negative cash flow.
Yeah, so in terms of the purchase price, now a lot of people think, well, the purchase price is the purchase price. There's things that we can do to work with our seller to lower the purchase price in terms of getting a better deal for ourselves. It's part of the negotiation process when we're looking at it. So, Kieran, what are some examples of some ideas that we can come down and during the this negotiation phase to lower that purchase price for us and our
Right.
investors?
Yes, yeah. And the other thing is the first and most important thing is knowing the price per unit in that particular market. So if we are jumping in a market from one market to the another market, we get a little bit confused. We forget about looking for one town in BC and looking at one town in, like, Ontario, and then moving to Alberta. So have a market where you know what kind of properties are selling for price per unit. So then you narrow down to, you can get your comparables. And it needs to be facts. It cannot be with emotion. So you when you're talking to your seller, when you're talking to the selling agent, it needs to give them the facts. It needs to come from them, right? So you have the listing price, and then you talk about, is this a what the price per unit. So divide the purchase price into, if it's like 1 million property and there are 12 units, divide that, what's coming down to price per unit. And you can look at the comparables, what in that particular neighborhood, what was the price per unit they were selling for in the last 3 months. And then you have your, whether you're buying under market or whether you're buying above. It's not making sense.
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
No, I love those points. And I mean, do your research. It's for a lot of us, it's an extra tab on our Excel spreadsheet of all the deals that we're analyzing is to keep a listing so you know when if you're jumping across the country or if you're jumping around a province, that you know what the price per door is in each city that you're analyzing. It's a good reference tool to have. It's on that second tab in your Excel spreadsheet.
Mm. Yes. And the other thing I want to mention is the age of the property. So consider, when you're comparing the properties, compare between like similar age, similar like the unit mix, and similar kind of neighborhood, and looking at all those, for example, has when you're doing the walkthrough, there are millions of things that we can negotiate, like getting the due diligence when you are in a due diligence phase. So one big thing is, if one property has roof that has not been changed in the last like 15 years or 20 years. So you can say that like you need to change the roof in coming years, and this much money you have to spend. And having a ballpark, you will know that how much the roof cost, and like per square feet of the property. And you can negotiate on that. And then also, who is paying for the utilities? If it's a oil heat, how much it will take you to convert from the oil heat to the electrical heat, and compared to the other property which already has electrical heat. And now you have you know one thing that you can negotiate, that this property is sold higher at this price you're asking because that had electrical heat. But on this property we are paying higher utilities and it has the oil heat. And the same thing is like electrical heat in Saskatchewan and Alberta. Like some of the units have electrical heat, some have natural gas heat. And those are the things like narrow down your comparables, like comparing apples to apples. And yeah.
As best as we can. And again, Kiran and I, we've mentioned this many times. This is why it's very important to have an experienced investor-focused realtor on your side, so they've probably experienced what the conversion costs are to change from oil and gas and upgrade a lot of things on a property, what the replacement cost of a roof is in that area of the country or the province. So working with those experienced people as well is really key to helping you get the best thing. And also there's communities and groups that you can ask, what seems like a fair price. I was quoted $20,000 to do this. Does that seem fair? And ask these communities or groups where people have some experience in investing in that area too. There's many of them out there on especially Facebook.
I agree. And for like when we started, we had talks with our contractor. We'll take our contractor with us, and then he will give us a quote. And then from the quote, we are negotiating with the seller that this is the quote we got, like before even going through the inspection process, that we have to change the washer dryer, or we have to change the flooring, and there's like water damage on the ceiling, there's like roof needs to be changed, and the windows are, there is a quite bit heat loss going through the windows because they have not been changed for some while. And this is a quote from our contractor that windows needs to be changed, and also other utility bills, and like just a general condition of the property. Yes. And like looking through the cracks in the foundation, if you come across what needs to be done, so that there's like water is not seeping into. So having a contractor going through for the first few walkthroughs is like it's a huge difference maker, because you can learn like more walkthrough you're going to do that, then you can learn. And then after doing a couple, then you don't need your contractor to go with you on the walkthrough for every property. You will have some ballpark idea, approximate that this is going to cost you. Yeah.
Yeah, and to get this type of practice and experience, to gain that type of knowledge, go out there and just start checking out properties and just listen to what the realtors are saying, and just get educated as you go along. The more you go out there and do it, the more you're going to learn. There's also other ways that you could potentially lower the purchase price, but now that I'm thinking about it, we might save that for another episode. But there's creative financing, and there's creativity in the deal, and positioning your deal so it's a win-win-win for the seller and yourself and your investors and the tenants as well that are in the place, so in the community. So that would be something that we could discuss on another topic as well.
I agree.
Now, Kieran, property taxes are something that I've really been saying for years to investors that they really need to prepare for when purchasing a property. In your experience, what do you like to suggest, you recommend?
So comparing between the property tax, so property tax is set by the municipalities, or in that like in the city, and those are assessed value of the property multiplied by the tax rate. So recently Surrey increased their property tax, and all the other provinces, like there was a recent change in the St. John too. So you can look into what is the tax rate set on that particular province, and on the assessed value. So now, like assessed value of the property was X amount of dollars, and now they did something to the property in last year, and now they're selling at this much. But the property tax has not been, changed, or the city in the process of changing this is not recent. So you need to consider that your property tax will be at a higher rate compared to that, seller's property tax. So make sure that this is a really big, and even comparing the markets from one market to the another market, you need to consider the property tax, that your property tax will be higher, and now you're buying at a higher price. It will be higher because you have the appraisal done, you have assessed value of the property done, and then city can see how much that property was sold for and look into that. And there are like so many strategies you can go through also to reduce the property tax. For example, you come across that your property tax, like assessed value of the property is this much, and then you can, talk to the city that the comparables are this much, and this is not, higher. This seems to be higher property tax, and you can consider you have a meeting and get your property tax lowered.
Those are great points there, Kiran, and property taxes in Canada, at least as far as I know, it's not a perfect system by far, and it can be a little frustrating. And I want to just give an example here. So Irismar and I bought a property. Now, the previous owner had been in that property for 25 years at least. Okay, so the assessed home, the MPAC, which is in Ontario that we use here, has the assessment of the, and they really only increase it gradually, almost at the rate of inflation, it seems, during that homeowner's existence there. But when there's a major change on that property, on that building, then the town or the city, the municipality notifies MPAC or whichever governing institution it is. So what that means is that there's a house sale, there's a transaction. So now the value of that house has gone to, let's say, 300,000 25 years ago to almost $1 million in present day. Well, you're going to be in for a sticker shock on that property tax. In this particular property that I'm describing for Irismar and I, the property tax has doubled in 3 to 5 years, doubled. However, then we took out some permits because, of course, we do everything by the books and legit. We do everything legally. So we took out a permit because we were upgrading some spaces and making it more livable. And once upon completion, the municipality also notifies that governing body, which in Ontario and is MPAC, and they let them know that that work has now been completed. Then another assessment gets done. And now that $1 million home is now worth 1,150,000. And guess what? Because your assessed value has gone up, your property taxes are going up as well. So these are things that you really have to be considerate about when you're analyzing properties, that you really want to protect yourself and your investors, and really expensive rent hikes to your tenants that are paying rent there in certain provinces, that if you can get away with rent hikes. These are real things that you want to take into consideration because they're really going to affect your bottom line within a very short amount of time.
I agree. So now, if somebody underwrote that property, like for the cash flow, like, this much is mortgage payments, and this much is the property tax, and like, all the insurance and utilities. And if you had like previous the property tax, and now like you consider that it's ending up cash flowing $1,000, the property tax has been doubled. So that $1,000 is not going to be $1,000, and it's going to be lower. And every point, if you're being like, trying to convincing yourself that, like utilities won't be that much, like I can charge my tenants a little bit more, I can do this much, like just talking to yourself and getting a little bit emotional just to buy that, just like pretending that numbers are making sense, it's going to bite you. Because and you're like and your cash flow was this much, and now it's not that much, or it's like negative cash flow. Yes.
And if you're an investor that doesn't own a property right now, I can tell you that owners of properties are getting notices from the municipalities and the regions that there's going to be a property tax increase. since COVID, a lot of these cities and and regions were holding back on increasing property taxes just to help everybody through the pandemic. They've lost a ton of money during those 2+ years there, so they're starting to raise them, and the increases are coming definitely in 2024. So, pay attention, and 2025. So pay attention to that. And again, that's a great way to refer to our next segment there in terms of creative financing, is that we're going to want to reduce that purchase price, which as low as possible. So we can have that on paper with the municipality, that the assessment value of the home is lower than what we actually want it to be, what it's actually worth. So that's
Mhm.
real.
And I agree. And if you're buying property, and then you're consider the property tax if you're adding units, because now when you're adding units and doing anything to the property to increase the assessed value, your property tax will be also higher. So don't just underwrite the property with the previous property tax, and you can talk what will be the appraisal or future projected value, and what will be the future tax rate. Yeah.
And this isn't to scare you guys watching. This is just for you to plan, just so you become successful on the outside when you have this, when you acquire this property and you do those renovations. Now,
I agree.
Kieran, another thing that is something that we don't take into consideration, and it can really sneak up on us, is the insurance.
Mhm. Yes, I agree. So a lot of sellers, they have multiple properties, and what they do is they get into buying that sorry, just one second, buying into blanket insurance, that their insurance cost is lower. And when new investors buy, and they don't have any property, and they're thinking that the insurance will be the previous seller's insurance, and it's not true. So get an insurance quote. When you're checking the insurance quote, go through the questions and give the information as as much as and keep updating. Then how old was the roof, what kind of plumbing is it, what kind of electric, like when was it updated, and when was there any fire, did you have any claim in the past few years. And looking at all those things, you will get the insurance quote, and compare your insurance quote with different kind of brokers, and whoever can give you more more coverage. For example, like what will be my premium, and what will be my coverage. So get a coverage. If anything happens with property, that coverage, that's more than the value of the property, right? And it's not only the premiums we need to focus on. We also need to consider that if we are buying $2 million property, does the insurance covers you know how much that if you are if property is all burned down, how much the value, how much it will take you to build a new one. And so that's how much the insurance going to cost, and having your insurance in place, and before and that can save you. Now you have um accurate numbers. So we start our insurance process when we put an offer. So we send every information to our insurance broker that to get a quote. So just before um, going through the inspection, when we have the insurance quote, we are able to negotiate the price down again, that your insurance quote was this much, and now our quote is this much, because that property, that insurance was like, how old was it. And then the insurance broker didn't have all this updated information, and the property has aged and everything, so windows has not been changed, and like all those, like there's like student rental, higher insurance, the tenants, all those kind of criteria that can increase your insurance quote. So get your insurance quote sooner. And if you can, goal is to get before the inspection, so that you're not spending money on inspection, and now you need to rewrite your numbers.
Those are great suggestions there. And I mean, it just gives us more power in the negotiation process as we do our going through our due diligence. And, the point that Kieran made at the very beginning there is really important. The person that you're buying from, the seller, they might have multiple properties and with the same insurance company. So the insurance company gives them a discounted rate. So when the selling realtor gives you the financials and the insurance says X thousand dollars per year, that's for that customer, for that insurance company, because he has a big portfolio of properties. And if this is your first or second and you're just starting off in the industry, your insurance is going to probably be considerably higher. And that's why we don't always take the information that's given to us. We need to really dive into that and really understand if these numbers are going to be true for us. We understand they're true for them. What's it going to be for us? So that's an excellent point. Thank you so much, Karen.
Right. And other thing is as new investors miss is other than the utilities. So ask the question, who is paying for the utilities? If it's owners are paying the utilities, or is tenants paying the utilities? And I would not rely on just like on the Excel sheet or the statement written that utility amount. I want to see the actual bills. If you are in Alberta, like you're looking the APCOR bill, and like if you're in Saskatchewan, like Sask Energy, all those, look at the actual monthly water bill, heat bill, electricity bill, and that needs to be reliable. And also like 1 year, if you're getting only that the summer months, and it's like that where you're buying is and there's a lot of snow, and it's a winter months, like 8 or 9 months of the year, and you can't have your the realtors get sneaky, and like they only give the information that where you had the lowest bill, but you need to get into 1 year. Maybe it's great for like couple of 2 years, and January to December, and then add up and make sure that your numbers are, take the average and consider that your water bill. So not only that 1 month water bill, then multiply by 12. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Or
it's
like,
not.
yeah.
Oh, I apologize. Yeah, but I mean, it's not necessarily also that, the seller or their agent is trying to mislead us. Some agents are newer or not experienced, so they might not be giving all the clear information that we require as investors. And some landlords aren't educated as being a landlord and a business owner, so they might not even know what if they're cash flowing or what bills to give you. Like they might give you, like Kieran said there, a month where oil's low. Well, that because it's the summer. You don't know what the winter costs are going to be, especially if there's a common space in there as well. So really great points that we really have to pay attention to.
I agree. And the last thing is, don't forget who's gonna shovel the snow.
Ah,
The snow removal company, consider that into your when you're looking at when you're calculating how your cash flow, and also the accounting fee and the bookkeeping fee. And if you're buying under the corporation, that's like $5,000-6,000 for filing the taxes. If you're buying under personal name, and your insurance, your filing the taxes, it will be lower. But when you do the 5,000 for the corporation, that 5,000 needs to come from that income. So
right.
that can make or break the deal. So try to have go really conservative when you're running the numbers, and try not to only consider like rent minus property tax, insurance, utilities. So also consider snow removal and sewage and water, sewage and garbage disposable, that fee, whether it's included in the water bill or is it separate. So who takes care of the garbage disposable, like ask those questions. And don't forget your maintenance and capital reserve, right? Like the capital expenditure reserve. If you need to change the roof, you need to consider how many years it will take uh to make up that money. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, these are great points. And really what we're doing our best in a short amount of time is give you some tips and tools to make you as successful as possible in real estate investing, and something to think about There's a lot more that we want to discuss here, but we only have a limited amount of time. So that's wonderful. Is there anything else, Karen, that you can think of? I think we touched upon almost everything.
Yes, yeah. So purchase price, get on that, and not emotional game. Consider property tax, insurance, utilities, snow removal, your maintenance budget, and your capital expenditure budget, and utilities, your accounting and everything. And the other thing is, initially when people are underwriting the deals, looking at the numbers and thinking that no deal works. If you're considering all those things, sellers are asking this much, and guess what? After you underwrite about like 100 or 90, you are going to be getting really, really, really good at it's going to be really fast process, and you can looking at like just napkin math, you can do it, and you will be able to get the process faster. And once you find a deal where the numbers will be working, you can make a lot of money. So
It's
yeah.
true. It's true. We're changing lives here, people. So making places safe for tenants, making money, helping you leave your job, and giving back to the communities and providing safe and secure housing. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you so much, Kiran, for joining us again. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Thank you. Happy investing.